by Stagecoach. All right, no one was listening to that, or it just wasn't funny. All right, are we ready for that? Okay. Are we ready for our last storyteller? Going last is also very difficult because you have to wait, which is really hard. Okay, so this is the one and only Leslie Johnson. So she has like fun facts as her bio, okay? One of the, people are already laughing, that's a good sign. One of the puppets from the Broadway show Avenue Q once asked me what my favorite porn website is. She didn't give an answer though. Like, she doesn't tell, so you have to ask her after the show. My birthday is on 4/20. But I don't celebrate it the proper way because I can't hang with weed. Leslie, God. My favorite sex shop is A Woman's Touch. A woman-owned business in my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. I love that. I've never committed a crime, but I did catch a criminal when I was 16. See how she's creating the need for all these other stories that she's just teasing us, just teasing you. When I lived in New Zealand, I loved streaking, and I did it a fair amount, to the point that people who lived in the same small town as me could probably pick my boobs out of a lineup. Here's Leslie Johnson.
Coworkers were in the front row, and my boss was my +1. All right, so it took me a long time to become a confident person. And sexual confidence, I'm still very much working on that. As I try and navigate my awkward moments and what I enjoy sexually, there are always some ups and downs. I don't do one-night stands, which I loudly told a man I was taking back to my room on my last night living in New Zealand. I said, "We're not having sex," while I was hoinking up my pantyhose. Boner alert. So we get back to my room, and we're fooling around, and he says the romantic line that every girl dreams of hearing. "Do you want me to see on your tees?" I'm not gonna say the words because it makes me feel like a total bro, but I'm just gonna say that it does not mean, "Do you want me to cry on your towel?" So when he says that, in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, gross. Like, are you gonna clean that up? Am I gonna clean it up? But like at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of horny, like, So in the end, I just kind of did like an awkward, like, yeah, like kind of like Fonzie from the Happy Days. And like, knowing me, I probably did the thumbs up motion too. So fast forward through some more ups and downs in the bedroom, and I moved to Gainesville about 2 years ago. Ow! Well, that's I thought, who the hell am I gonna date in Gainesville? So I had lived here for about like 2 months, and then I actually matched with an Australian on the dating app Bumble. So I came to find out that he was on one of those like Kentucky travel groups. So he was like traveling throughout the U.S. and so. You know, when we matched, like, he just happened to be passing through Gainesville right when we matched. And we started talking, and I figured, like, you know, like, okay, like, we're never actually going to meet up. This is never going to happen. So normally, like, the conversation would fade out. But it didn't. So we kept texting, and then we started talking on the phone. And that's when things got a little bit more interesting and sexy. So I had like briefly dipped my toe in the phone sex pool, but I never fully like dove in. And I was thinking like, and it was kind of his idea, and I was thinking like, okay, I mean like I'll give it a shot, like how good is it really gonna be? holy shit. He was good. And I mean good. He was so good that I felt really intimidated, like trying to keep up with him. I would agree. So by like our second or third chat, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be prepared for this. So that afternoon, I typed up a story of what I was going to do that night. And it was weird because I almost felt like a romance novelist, like on a tight deadline. I was like, okay. Look at my writing. So I get this story together, and then I tell it to him that night, and I'm trying to read it to him like I didn't like meticulously craft this 3 hours ago, which just like sucks the sexy right out of it. And then he just like came back and hit it with the story. So like I felt like this weird mix of like I was horny, but also just like angry and frustrated that he was so good at this. And so I just kind of like realized why I had such a hard time with it. And I was like, oh, it's because I'm not a good liar. So he asked me actually like a couple months ago, he was like, so what are you wearing? And I was like, shit. So at the time, I was wearing like gray briefs from Target, like black athletic shorts, and a t-shirt from the Ocala Beer Mile I did last year that had like a bear on the back of it, like chugging a beer. So I was like, I don't know, maybe some people would be into that. But I had paused long enough that he kind of like started to laugh, and he was like, so I take off your giant granny panties. And I was like, nailed it. So I was kind of thinking, I was like, okay, so if I was telling like a realistic phone sex story, it would kind of go like this. I would take you back to my apartment. I would tell you to take off your shoes so you don't get dirt everywhere. We go back to my room, and my roommate's cat's there, and he won't shut the fuck up. So I pick him up, and I pull him outside of the room really quickly, and I shut the door. And then I'm like, wait, let me pee really quickly. Relate. So I run to the bathroom really quickly, and you're just like standing there awkwardly judging my book collection. And then I come out of the bathroom, and I don't know, blow you till you come. And that would be my phone sex story. So as like the weeks went by, like I did get a bit better at it. But then I actually met someone in Gainesville, and the phone sex stopped for about 6 or 7 months. So when I met this new person, I actually got to dip my toe into a new pool, latex. So when I told some of my coworkers who were up front here, I told some of them that I was talking about latex in this story, and I kind of assumed they knew like hot, sexy latex clothing. And then I found out a few days after I told them, they all assumed I was talking about condoms. And I was like, oh, really? Like, didn't even cross my mind. And they were like, yeah, why would we think you were talking about clothing? So actually, we went out to a couple breweries, and one of my coworkers would ask complete strangers, like, what's the first thing you think of when you think of latex? Just to prove a point. Okay, fine. Like, some of them said condoms, some said gloves, and one person said a mattress. I mean, I don't know. Mixed bag of answers. So I'm going to do a little poll here. I mean, there's clearly, there's no right answer, but it's not condoms. So, clap your hands if you think of condoms when you hear latex. That was mostly my coworkers. Now, clap if you think of a goddamn hot, sexy dress when you hear latex. helping guide me through it. So I was pretty excited because I was gonna go, I was going out of town and I was gonna get my first dress. So I went into the changing room and I was like picking up a dress and I was like, how in God's name do I get this tiny piece of rubber on my body? So we're gonna do a little latex 101. So for those of you who can't read it in the back, it says latex 101 in my serial killer looking handwriting. So when I was in the shop, the woman who was helping me was super awesome. Like, she was so helpful. She was bringing me all these different outfits and kind of telling me how to try them on, which involved putting, yes, who said that? Good job. She knows. Which involved putting baby powder on. I was like, still didn't really know what to do, so I was like, kind of like patting it on my body and like patting it on the dress. And in my mind, like, I'm speaking silently to myself, like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I was like, is this where I thought I would be when I'm 30? And it's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, it kind of makes sense. So I try a couple dresses on, and I put one on. And I walk out of the dressing room and the woman's there and I was like, I don't know, like this kind of feels weird and like my boobs are half hanging out. And she was like, that's because it's on backwards. I'm like, oh, okay. So she's like shimmying back in. So I kind of got the hang of it. And then finally I found the one. Of course I have it here. I mean, why? All right. And here it is. Damn. So, I just want to point out that this like the brown lines you see, these are actually see-through. And if you look at the side, there's like a sun here. I think it was like the sunset dress or the sunrise dress, something very classy. I don't want to do classy. So I put it on. And I was like, damn, I look good. Like, I felt good. I went out to the woman who was helping me try it on. And I was like, doesn't my butt look good? Like, a sentence I've never uttered in my whole life. And she was like, yes, like a proud mom. Like, she was so excited. It was like prom day, like trying on my dress. And so I was super excited to like get home and try it on for the guy that I was dating. So when I got home, it is kind of like a process putting it on, and I didn't use baby powder, but I did use some lubricant. And I have that too, that the woman helped me buy. So I did have to rub some lubricant kind of all over the inside of the dress, and I was like, should I put some on myself? I don't know. So it took about like 10 minutes. I was like wiping it on the dress, kind of like, you know, like the baby powder when I was putting on, like someone's getting on the dress, like someone's getting on the floor. Of course, we like gracefully slipped on it like after having sex because there's so much lube on the floor now. So I put on the dress and I walk out, I open my door and I walk outside and the guy I'm dating is sitting there and I felt so awesome. Like I felt confident, I felt sexy. And I was like, doesn't my butt look good? And I felt awesome. And I just felt like this awesome, sexual, confident person. And the sex was great because I felt great. But then I got my heart stomped on a few months after that. And to be blunt, it fucking sucked. So I didn't feel like that awesome, like sexually confident person anymore. And that's a really shitty feeling to lose. I didn't feel super great about myself, and I'm still struggling to feel great about myself. But things do change. So the Australian and I recently started engaging in some of our chats again. And I feel good when I do it. And, you know, I might talker, but I'm a damn good listener. And a little fun fact about that, he's actually the first person I read this story to. And of course we did it, I like that people are like, oh. Of course we did it on the phone, and no, we did not have sex after. So I think that was like a first time. So, I mean, sometimes I still have this dress in my closet, so sometimes I do feel like a little bit sad looking at that dress, and I just want to like rip it up and like throw it away. But I know I won't always feel like that. I know that I will meet someone else. And when I do, I'm gonna put that dress on, shimmy it on, not backwards, facing the right way. I'm gonna go out and say, doesn't my butt look good? And he's gonna go, yeah.
Was the right place to be, right? How awesome is that? Oh, Leslie, she's so good. Is that brave or what? So brave. It is really something to think that for any of our shows, that like, I'm gonna go tell something about my life that maybe a lot of people don't know at all, like even the people closest to me, and I'm gonna tell it to 200 and whatever people, mainly strangers and coworkers that sit in the front row unexpectedly. It takes so much bravery, and she's holding a box that says latex